So you're gonna homeschool. Whether your first thought is, ack, what have I done? Or, yay! And then, ack, what have I done? We've got you covered. I am here with my best tips for new homeschoolers. Hi everyone, I'm Pam Barnhill and I'm here with hacks for homeschoolers to help you bring joy, life, efficiency, and wonderfulness to your homeschool day. Don't worry, we are going to help you through this. So be sure to hit subscribe or the little bell down below so you'll be notified every time we have a new video go live. So the very first thing you want to do when you're considering homeschooling is take a look at what the laws are for homeschooling in your state. You can do this by going to the internet, and there will be a website for your state, Department of Education, and some information there for homeschoolers. And one of the quickest way to find this is by accessing it through the HSLDA website, and we'll put a link for that down in the description for you. They have a listing of state laws by state for homeschoolers. So that's a good place to start, but it's not where you're going to want to finish this journey, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. You want to start by taking a look at the laws in your state so you know what it is you are legally required to do. And you're probably going to find in most cases, in most states, that it's way less than you think you need to. Homeschoolers are often surprised at how little oversight there is for homeschooling in their state. Now, there are 2 or 3 states that have more stringent requirements, but most states have very few requirements for homeschool families. You need to know this because first of all, you need to know what you're legally required to do, but secondly, you need to know what you're not required to do because you don't want to spend your time jumping through a lot of hoops when you could be giving your kids the kind of education that you want to give them. Don't jump through hoops for the state that you don't have to jump through. So go find out exactly what those requirements are in your state. Which leads me to the second tip for new homeschoolers, and that is to find some other people who are local to you, some other people who homeschool in your state. Most of these people are going to be a very good resource for you as you start looking at exactly what it is you need to do. So contact your state organization or some other local homeschool groups. And some good places to find those would be Facebook, maybe within your church, or your local library might be able to point you to some other homeschoolers in your area. Find somebody who's been homeschooling for a while, who seems to have a really good head on their shoulders. You don't necessarily have to be best friends, but what you're looking for is a mentor, somebody you can ask some questions to. And hey, homeschoolers love to teach and they love to help other homeschoolers. So you're going to be able to find somebody who's going to answer your questions for you. And by finding somebody who also homeschools in your state, they're going to have the best answers for your questions. They're going to be the ones who are able to help you. And the good thing is you'll probably make some friends along the way. This is very important for your kids, especially if you're pulling them out of a public school situation and now you're going to be schooling them at home. You need to get them around other homeschool kids so they can see, hey, these kids are just like us. They just don't get up and go to school every day. And by helping them make some new friends and getting them around other homeschoolers, they're going to adapt to the situation more quickly. So that's the second thing, is seek out and find community. Now, if for some reason you can't find local community, you could certainly find community online. There's a lot of great community out there. We have the Homeschool Help Desk on Facebook, which is for brand new homeschoolers, and we have some veteran homeschoolers in there as well, and they are so happy to help new homeschoolers with all of their questions. And you can also find community at pambarnhill.com, which is my website. So no local community, seek it out online. We're going to be able to hook you up with somebody from your state who can help you. So the third thing you want to do as a new homeschooler is gather a few really helpful resources. And one of my very favorite ones for new homeschoolers is a little book that I wrote called The Confident Homeschooler. This one is very practical and has just a lot of great down-to-earth practical advice to help you get started with your homeschooling. Now you can find this on Amazon. It's a Kindle book. It's very inexpensive and it's a pretty short read, but we also have the audio version of this book, if you like to listen to audio, available on the website for free. So we're going to put a link to that in the description for you so that you can find that little audiobook later, that Confident Homeschooler with those great hacks. Another book that I really love for new homeschoolers is Lisa Whelchel's book, So You Think You Want to Homeschool. And yes, this is Lisa Whelchel. If you're about my age, you remember her as Blair from The Facts of Life. Well, later on in life, she started homeschooling her kids and she wrote this little book, and it has stories of about 20 to 28 different homeschoolers in there. Now, sometimes it gets panned on Amazon because the homeschoolers are composite people. They're not real people. It's kind of, they took a conglomeration of people and made one story out of it. I don't care about that. It's still a wonderful book because it shows you so many different ways of what homeschooling could look like in various families. So it really is a good resource. Now, that book actually inspired a podcast that I had on my website called the Homeschool Snapshots Podcast. We're no longer recording that one, but we have over 70 episodes of interviews with different homeschoolers on that podcast. So we'll put a link to that in the description as well, so you can go and listen to some of those interviews. And what I love about it is we very purposefully ask the same questions to these homeschoolers over and over again. Not because we couldn't think of new questions to ask, but very simply because we wanted you to hear different answers to the same questions. It's so important to realize that homeschooling can look different in all different families. And it's not wrong. It's completely right that it looks different for your family than it does for mine. So that is another fabulous resource. And then finally, if you're starting to put together a little bit of a plan for your homeschool, you're going to need something to help you with that. And so we have a book called Plan Your Year, and you can find that at planyouryear.net. And that book starts helping you walk through making a plan for your homeschool. You do not have to plan out the entire year at one time, but instead it's the process that you would follow to plan, whether you're planning a week, a month, a term, or an entire year. So that's another great resource for you as well. Okay, next on our list of things that you want to do if you're a brand new homeschooler is start looking at what curriculum you're going to use in your homeschool. So my number one source for objective curriculum reviews is this website called kathyduffy.com. And Kathy is a longtime veteran homeschooler, and she's been doing reviews for as long as I've been a homeschooler, so as long as I could remember. Kathy also has a book called 102 Top Picks for Homeschool Curriculum, and she puts her very best reviews in the book, but you can also see a plethora of reviews on her website as well. So go check out the website, and then you can have a look at the book, and your library might even have that one. And so that is a good way to kind of feel the lay of the land about different homeschool curricula and which one you think might be a good fit for you. Now, I don't want you to get lost in the weeds of curriculum. I mean, you can go down a rabbit hole and it takes a long time to come out. Really, what you're looking for as a beginning homeschooler is a place to start. The curriculum you use this year doesn't have to be the curriculum you follow the entire time you homeschool. And I think that's so important for you to know. Don't get hung up on the idea that you have to pick the perfect thing right now, because that's simply not the case. So another thing you could do is try on a temporary curriculum. One I would like to suggest to you, and it's easy peasy, all-in-one homeschool.com. It's one of Kathy Duffy's top picks, and it's absolutely free. It's free online. It's written to the student. Now, this doesn't mean that you could turn a 6, 7, or 8-year-old loose with it and never pay attention to what they're doing. Those kids at that age really do have to be actively homeschooled. But the older your kids are, the more they're going to be able to do independently with this curriculum. And because it's free, you have nothing to lose. It gives you a really great place to start. So that's something to have a look at. If you love it, you might stay with it for a number of years. I know a few moms who do use and love this curriculum, or it might just be the place you land right now while you're trying things out and figuring out what you want to do. So that one's totally an option for you. If you have a little more money you want to spend, you could also look at any number of curriculums in a box. And there are curriculums in a box to fit all different kinds of homeschoolers. There's secular curriculum in a box. There's curriculum in a box for homeschoolers who want to read lots of books. And there's curriculum in a box for homeschoolers who really want to do something that looks a lot like what their kids were doing at school. They just simply want to do it at home. And so we'll link to some of those down in the description for you. Any number of choices that you have there. If you're pulling your kids out mid-year, don't get hung up on what to use as curriculum and spending a lot of money, especially if you're pulling them out after the semester break. In that case, you simply might want to go down to your local dollar store and find a math workbook and a handwriting workbook that has a grade level on it about where your kids are and help them through those workbooks. That's a great way to get started. That and a library card is honestly all you need if you're entering your homeschool journey at the end of a school year. Finally, the last thing I would like for you to consider doing as a new homeschooler is start thinking about your vision for education. What can education look like in your home, and how is it different from what your kids have been experiencing in the public school? This is something you're going to think more about and take steps further on in the future as you get your feet under you homeschooling, but it's important to begin to start thinking about what you want the atmosphere of your home to look like and thinking outside the box. You're homeschoolers now, and it can be very different from what you're used to. Your schedule can be different. The things you decide to study can be different than what the school down the street is studying. And where you spend the bulk of your time and what your priorities are on can be very different as well. So start thinking about those things. And to that end, we have a webinar, a free 30-minute webinar for you all about vision and goals in your homeschool, and we'll link that down in the description as well. But it's something important to start keeping in mind. So there you have it. Those are my 5 best tips for new homeschoolers. We would love to help you out with your homeschooling. So if you have any questions at all, do please leave them for us. We answer all of them for you, and we'll get back in touch and help you on this brand new journey. And hey, be sure to hit subscribe because we're going to have more helpful homeschool videos for you as the weeks go on.